Right, time to crack on with this Ollie's dual Showman. I can't remember the last update that we had on this, but I was messing around with valves and sockets, and long story short is all 4 output valve sockets do need replacing. One of them, one of the output valves went into thermal runaway, and so I tried resoldering and retensioning all the connections on that socket. Did the others as well, but some of the pins actually are in incredibly poor condition. So what we're going to do is swap them out, and I've got permission from Ollie to do so. Thankfully, sockets are cheap, so we can get these swapped in. We'll put new components in, tidy up the lead dress, all that kind of stuff as well at the same time. So hopefully we're going to end up with everything fixed. Now, we're also crossing every finger and toes and hoping that the valves are still good, because we're trying to do this on a bit of a budget, because we're also trying to find an original 240 volt mains transformer for this, so we can do a conversion. So if anyone has got a knackered old twin reverb export model, so it's got a 240 volt tap on it, whether that's just a transformer or a knackered chassis, do get in touch and let me know, because we want to swap that transformer into this chassis so he can run it 240 volt natively without any other issues. So that's what we're going to do. But the first thing I need to do is just desolder the mains wire, 3-prong conversion that was done. We can get that out of the way, because we're going to have to update the mains on this regardless, because it hasn't been done particularly well. Then I can get everything unsoldered. I can clean the whole area. I can tidy it all up, make it good. If we can't find a transformer, then he'll have to just run it with the step down. So that's not a problem. Yes, we could put a modern unit in, maybe have one wound, maybe whatever. Maybe buy one off the shelf, but you know, it would be nice to see if we can find a twin reverb, because it's the same unit as this. And what am I saying? Yeah, it'd be nice to find a proper transformer for this. And then we can keep this one safely somewhere. And if Ollie ever comes to sell it, we can swap the original transformer back in and return the amp to how it was. So, what is going on? My soldering iron is rubbish today. Sod it. Let's go to the nuclear option, we'll tidy that up. We'll get a big Bertha out later on and sort it all out. So, I have received a bit of bad news. And that is, one of my customers decided to sell his Americana amp, and he put it up on eBay, and somebody bought it. And this other person is known to me as well as a previous customer. So, but what's happened is the amp arrived with the buyer. You know, it was shipped to him, and it arrived with a fault caused by shipping. And then what's happened is the seller offered to either arrange for me to fix it for him or to get it returned, and then they had a bit of a back and forth, and essentially what's happened is, there's, as far as I understand it, and you know, if I'm wrong about this or I've got things mixed around, I will correct the record. But as far as I understand it at the moment, is the the buyer opened an eBay case saying it was faulty. eBay advised the seller of one process, advised the buyer of a different process, and there was a bit of confusion about what happens. The seller offered to go and collect it in person, but eBay said no, it has to be done with a courier and returned using the original shipment method or something along those lines. As far as I understand it, the buyer didn't want the seller to turn up at his place to collect it, wanted to go through the correct channels or whatever, and there was some confusion with advice from different eBay representatives to sort it all out. And essentially what's happened is eBay have refunded the buyer his money. You know, we're talking well over £1,000 here. And so he's able to keep the amp and the money. And obviously the seller is furious. And that's not right. You know, you can keep one of them. You can keep the money or the amp. You can't have both. So either the money goes back to the seller or the amp does, right? But the seller has appealed this through eBay and they keep rejecting it. And it's not right. And you think all parties would want to get this resolved, but now the buyer has started to, he stopped responding to messages, he's not answering his phone, so messages through eBay, he's not answering his phone. I've tried calling him and he's not responding to me. I've just sent him an email because the seller got in contact with me to let me know what was going on. And he seems to be completely ignoring everyone. He's trying to keep the amp and the money, which is not right on every level. And eBay are being no help. So again, if there's more to this story, I'll let you know. But as far as I understand, that's what's going on. And if I have made any mistakes in how I've explained it or whatever, as I said, I will correct the record so everyone knows what's going on and what. But essentially, the buyer has managed to get an amp and his money back, which is not right. So I'm sure there's something else going on, whether it's a misunderstanding in the returns process or whatever, I don't know. But I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of that and work it all out. But the buyer it appears to have disappeared completely off the map. And he's only about 45 minutes from me. So, you know, if he got in contact with me and say, yeah, I've got the amp and I've had my money back from eBay, please come and get it, I would go and get it on behalf of the seller. So at least we get the amp back. But it seems to have disappeared, which is not right. So thankfully the seller has the buyer's address, and I'm sure if there's no resolution shortly, there will be, you know, legal proceedings taken, etc., etc. Now, the difficulty is I also have the buyer's details because, as I said, it's a previous customer of mine, but obviously I can't share those for GDPR. So it's you know, I'm just trying to help everyone involved. So we'll see what happens. But it's a bit of a shame, really, isn't it, that people do that? I mean, who does that, really? Who does that? It's not right. It's not the way it should be. And you've got to be wary. This is why sometimes you've got to be careful. I don't know what else the seller could have done, but I mean, he sent me a copy of some of the messages, and it looks like the seller wanted to go through the official eBay returns process, but when the seller contacted eBay, they advised him one thing, but also then said do something else, and there was a bit of confusion. So when that all gets cleared up, but essentially there's a missing amp out there, and a guy is down quite a bit of money, which is not right. It's not right at all. And actually, I'm pretty pissed off about it. Because that's not the way you treat people. That's not the way you treat people, and that's not the way you deal with things. So if you are the buyer and you know who you are and you're watching this, please get in touch with me and we can get it all sorted. Because we want happy parties all round, right? We don't want any of this It's not even a new amp, so I don't really need to get involved at all. But, you know, my customers are my customers and I want to help them out. If you own a Rift amp, you'll always get help from me. So hopefully we'll sort that. But long story short, amp went missing. Buyer's got the amp and his money back, which is not right. So, yeah. Anyway, right, where are we with this? Where are we with this? So I need to get this heater wiring out for V8. See that pin's just come out, look, you see that? These sockets are all knackered. Come on. There you go, that's one pin. So that's that one. Let's do this one. Actually, some of this heater wiring is not in good shape. Anyway, we might need to put some more in. That pin's knackered on that one. Also, I think someone's used a mix of... Yeah, see that pin's broken as well, look, right there. Sorry, I think somebody has used a mix of lead and leaded solder on this previously, which you're not supposed to do. Get this out, this out. Some of you have noticed I've been doing this dual camera setup lately. What do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? I think it's pretty cool. It means I get the best of both worlds. I can show you what I'm doing and I get to talk to camera and waffle on, which I'm sure some of you love and some of you don't. Speaking of which, actually, my channel views per video has kind of dropped a bit lately. I'm getting between 2,000 and 3,000 views per video, but I'm well over, well, I'm almost, sorry, at 6,500 subscribers. So surely every subscriber is watching every video, and therefore, why are my numbers so low? Anyone have an idea? Right, that's all that out. Let's do these anodes. This is all a nightmare. Screens. We're going to neaten all of this up. Come on. What else was I saying? Yeah, so this dual camera setup, I think it's really cool. I like the picture-in-picture stuff. I'm going to try and do some more of it, because some of you want to see more repair stuff. Some of you want to see more of me talking and answering questions and, you know, putting the world to rights on camera. And I think with this, we can do both. We can have our cake and eat it. So, what's going on there? There you go. And that one. Do you know what? Why am I desoldering if I'm replacing the socket anyway? So that's the screen supply. Okay, so I'll just tuck that way. That's just down by switch. So out of the two signal wires, the yellow one goes to the left pair. It probably originally was red, but now it's orange, goes to the right-hand pair. We'll just say that out loud so we don't forget. So we can get those out of the way. Get that interconnect done. Get that interconnect done. Right. The other thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to add 1 ohm resistors to ground. So I'm going to put solder lugs in all along here. Help us measure bias. So we'll just snip that out of the way. Okay, is that everything for those sockets? I think it is. Let's just spin this round. Oh, God, that's heavy. Where's my screwdriver? Here it is. Right, okay. Oh, that screw's not in good condition. We've also got the death cap to do on this amp. Get rid of that. So the customer, speaking of the other twin amp I've got in, the big beast, customer has approved the replacement set of output valves. So we're going to get those done. We're going to give it a good service as well. But up there on the test bench, there it is an Ainsley Lister signature burning in. So that one is ready for Ains to come and test. Just had the cabinet arrive from Zilla. Thanks, Paul, by the way. Ainsley's going to come sign it off. Then we can get that thing assembled and shipped to... Where's it going? That one's going to Australia. Going to a chap called Ryan in Australia. So Ryan, if you're watching, that is your amp on the test bench. And so, there you go, that pin's come out there as well, look. I don't know if you can see. See? These sockets are just dead. These sockets are just dead. There we go. Right. Right, okay then. Let's give this chassis a quick clean up. So we'll start with a bit of kitchen roll and some IPA. And we'll just give it a quick clean up around there. You always get this discoloration on the chassis around the output valves. See, look, dirt. From heat and stuff. Now, because we're going to be using these lower holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, as grounding points for our 1 ohm resistors, we need to make sure we've got nice clean metal, both on the inside and out. So we'll just tidy up what we can. You see how dirty that gets, how quickly that gets all dirtied up. Oh, I missed one. Oh, that's not a nice noise. Right, okay. That'll do for the outside. Look how much dirt there is. Right. So, summer's nearly over. At least meteorological summer anyway. How's everyone feeling about it? Did you enjoy your summer? Or if you're in the southern hemisphere, did you enjoy your winter? Summer's on its way for you guys. I am actually feeling a little bit sad about it. I've thoroughly enjoyed my summer this year. I've really enjoyed it. I've had a great time. It's gone too quickly. It's gone far too quickly. Hopefully September's quite nice, although this week we are due a lot of rain and stuff. So we're going to end up soaked through for the next couple of weeks, apparently. There's a anti-clockwise low pressure zone over the Atlantic, which is just bringing in a wet front. A saggy low, they call it, I think. Right, they're looking better. So I need to tidy up these 4 solder lugs, which means I need to get a big bertha out. And then, so these salt grinding points, clean all those up properly. Then I need to get in there and get that cleaned up. We can get our new sockets mounted and all wired in properly, nice and neatly. If I can reuse some of the old wire, I will. Some of it looks okay, some of it looks a bit grotty, so we will make a decision on that as and when we need to. Yes, that's correct. But I need to go and get Big Bertha warmed up to get those done. Where is she? She's over there. Right, Big Bertha coming up to temperature. She's a beast, isn't she? She's a beast. This damage to the end of the tip here, this is all lead-free solder damage. So I need to get a new tip for this at some point, but it's coming up to temperature. Starting to melt this is leaded solder. So it's starting to get there now. It takes ages to get this up to temp and to get enough temperature into it that when you touch it to the chassis, obviously this chassis will act as a heat sink and suck a load of heat out of the tip of this thing. And we don't want that to happen. So you kind of have to wait ages for this thing to come up and saturate with heat. I'm sure there's a better phrase for that. Let me know in the comments. Okay, we're nearly there. Fortunately, I have to do this left-handed, which I hate doing. There's not quite enough heat in it yet. Oh, maybe there is. It's also a heavy beast, which means you have to kind of, you need 3 supports for it. There we go, we're starting to go now. Right, come on. Nearly got it all. Next one. Oh, come on, we're getting there now. Come on, Berths. You can do it. This bottom edge seems to be the sharpest bit. And finally this one, I have to get that wire out of the way. I don't burn it. Normally I leave this thing on for half an hour or so to really get some temperature into it, but I didn't. And as you can see, I'm struggling because of it. Right, that looks terrible. We're still going to clean it up. See? Look how good that looks. Told you. Don't doubt me. I do know what I'm talking about. Sometimes. See? That looks much better. Pleased with that. Pleased with that. Right. Actually looks worse on camera, this camera, than it does in real life. Right. Oh, while we're at it, actually, get this one sorted. See how easy that was? Easy. Right. Okay. Snips. Ice them down there. Get the death cap out. There it is. What value have we got? 47 nanofarad at 600 volts. Right. Okay. What's next? Next is have a quick tidy up and then get these sockets in. Right, sockets are all in. That was a bit of a palaver. I don't know why I just didn't do it the easy way from the beginning. But, yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to rebuild all the sockets, which means putting all my interconnects in. I've got to populate the sockets as well with the resistors. Now, got my 1 ohms for my cathodes here. You can see. Got my 1K5 grid stoppers, and I pulled some carbon comps out from my stash. I haven't got any. I'm actually out of carbon films and metal films, so we'll use the carbon comps. The amp had them anyway. And some metal oxide 470 ohm screen stoppers. So I'm going to time lapse this now. I'll pick a nice music track for you guys to listen to. And then we will come back once all those sockets are done. Right, okay. Progress. So valve sockets are in, all wired up. I did forget to do the signal wires, so I had to do those at the end. I'm not entirely happy at the time being with this signal wire here. It's not long enough to run it down along the back there. So I've currently got it running over the top here, but floating. I probably will change it. But it does mean lifting this end of the board to get to the underside of this eyelet here to do it properly. But I'm going to see how it is as it currently stands, test it on the bench. I've still got to put my heaters back in and do my mains wiring. But once it's all fired up, I can test to see how it is, and if it's not causing a problem, I'll leave it as it is. But if it does end up being an issue, then I will certainly go ahead and move that. But that's, as you can see, that's a much nicer... No, it's not. Let me fix that solder joint. There you go. That's a much nicer solution to where we are. I've still got to go ahead and fix up some other bits in this chassis. There's certainly some work to do on this board, some noisy components and whatnot to get swapped out as we're servicing it anyway. Stop spinning. Stop spinning. Anyway, hold that there. So yeah, I want to do the plate resistors, and there's some dodgy work around here, some toasty looking resistors as well. So we've got the chassis open. We're doing open heart surgery on it anyway. And Ollie does want this to be a noise-free amp, so we're going to go ahead and do some stuff on that as well. But I thought I'd show you the valve socket change on this amp. You can definitely see the condition. That it's a big improvement. Where are the old sockets? Here they are. So you can see on this one, obviously that pin broke off. So that's that one. This one here. You see from this side, they look okay, but they're They're definitely not. This one, that's the one where the entire pin came out, look. That one there. Missing its pin entirely. So, you know, valve sockets wear out. They wear out. And for the cost of replacing them versus the problems that you'll have if you don't, it's definitely worth doing it. So that's that. But I'm going to carry on servicing this now. But I mean, this video is probably way longer than I want it to be. So I'll go ahead and do most of this off camera now. I mean, there's still a lot of tidying up to do in here. Still a lot of bits and pieces that I want to get done. And make it giggable and gig worthy for Ollie to take out on the road and use in his shows. So yeah, good progress anyway.